Hey everyone, it's Mary. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm excited to give you my thoughts on By Sin I Rise by Cora Reilly. I know what you're thinking. All the romance booktubers around here talking about this book right now. But you can't be a romance booktuber and not talk about a new book by Cora Reilly. She is a booktube darling, and I love her books. You guys know we've been on here long enough that she is one of my favorite authors of all times, and I absolutely love her mafia books. My favorite series is probably from her is probably the Cora Chronicles, but obviously you have to talk about By Sin I Rise because it's like all the hype right now, and I absolutely had to give you my thoughts on it because I have a lot of thoughts to think. Before we jump into that though, two very quick announcements. The first one is that next week's video on Tuesday will not be a booktube related video. I announced on my last week, I can't remember which video it was, but I announced last week that I'm doing a Q&A in honor of Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, and I had asked everybody to ask me all the questions you have about ovarian cancer, cancer treatment, life after cancer. Any and all questions are welcome, so please feel free to just bust out anything. You can either leave your question in the comment section below, or if it's a question you don't want people to know you're asking, you can send it to me through a direct message, either through my Instagram or my Twitter, or my email address, which is also all listed on my Linktree and in my About section of my YouTube channel. So feel free to send me your questions. I'm taking questions until next weekend, and then I'm going to record my Q&A, and I will post it on Tuesday for you guys. So next Tuesday, not booktube related content. Second announcement that I have for you guys is that I have started a second YouTube channel. So if you're interested in checking it out, I have a link below to it. And I separated this one because this channel is going to be called Mary Ellen's Debt-Free Journey. It is about me getting out of debt and kind of starting by the age of 40, trying to get my finances in order, lose weight, get my mental health in order, all the things that you want to fix when you're getting to that midlife point. So I didn't want to bore you guys with that here on BookTube. So if you're interested in following that journey, you can follow me at the link below and listen to me talk about being broke. I'm just kidding. And now on to By Sin I Rise by Cora Reilly. So if you have not read Cora Reilly's Bound in Blood series, you definitely need to read it because this book has to do with the next generation, children. Really, you need to read. Really, I think everyone should just read Cora Reilly because I love her. But realistically, for this particular book, you at least need to have Born in Blood read. And I definitely recommend reading both that and the Cora Chronicles if you want to continue with this series. This is part of the Sins of the Father series by Cora Reilly, which is a spin-off of both of her previous Mafia series. It's the children of these characters that we met before. So like Born in Blood is the original series, the Cora Chronicles were a spin-off of that series, and then this is a spin-off of both the series. So I'm really excited to get through these because I love my Cora Reilly Mafia peeps, and I love my Cora Chronicles the best. They're my favorite. So I'm waiting for those books. I can't wait to see what Greta and Nevio are like as adults, or as should like young adults, but their stories are a little bit down the road. So I'm going to hold my horses on that one. All right, so By Sin I Rise follows Luca and Arya's daughter. Luca and Arya are the main couple of the Born in Blood series. You have Luca, who is the leader of the mafia. He marries Arya in the first book. I know they are the first book, and then they have a second book further on down the series that's also about them. So this one follows their daughter Marcella, and the male character in the book is Maddox, and he is the son of an MC president that Luca killed during one of the books. Can't remember which one. He and Arya go through a rough patch, and he basically goes on like this killing spree and kills an entire chapter of this MC. So he's the son out for revenge. And when we were looking at all of the spoilers from Cora and the description on the book, it's pretty obvious that, Maddox is going to abduct or kidnap Marcella and kind of go from there. So I don't think that most of what I'm going to tell you is super spoilery, but just keep in mind there may be some spoilers in this review that I'm doing because I can't talk about all of it, I don't think, without spoiling a little. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so when the book opens and we first get to meet both characters, I gotta be honest, I was a little bit disappointed. So it took me a really long time to get into this book. The first reason was that I felt like it's written a little bit young Not new adult young, but definitely younger than what I was used to, because I just reread the Cora Chronicles because they're my happy place, and it felt so much younger than what I read in those books and even what I read in the other series. I just was kind of like, they just felt young. Um, and I mean, I knew they were younger people, but I wasn't expecting it to read as young as it read. Marcella came across as like very almost naive and very spoiled and very like prissy and stuck up. And I didn't like that. She wasn't very likable, to be honest, at the very beginning of the book. And then Maddox's character wasn't that he was a bad character. To me, he was just a boring character. There's no real emotional attachment to him. I think everyone can be emotionally attached to Marcella because we love Luca and Arya. So we already kind of like are already like emotionally attached to her character because we love her parents. But with Maddox, I feel like you don't really know much about him. So it took me a while to really get into these characters. I would say I was probably a good third of the way through the book before I actually liked the characters. And then I was a good halfway through the book before I really was like interested in what was going to happen to the two people in the series. So I feel like that could be a little bit of a turnoff to people, especially those who are not already familiar with the previous series. So that's why I recommend, if you have not read, you go back and read, because it took me a long time to like the two people in the book. So I feel like if I didn't already have that love of Luca and Arya and that backstory of their relationship and the close bond that their family has, I don't think I probably would have continued reading, just to be honest, because I just was kind of bored with it at the beginning. At the beginning, it was a lot of like guys drinking and partying, her sitting in a cage with a bunch of like fight dogs and them threatening her and things like that. And I was like, I want more like relationship building between you guys. And I felt like it wasn't as strong relationship building that I was really hoping for. And again, I just didn't really like Marcella because she was kind of like stuck up, to be honest. So it took me a while, but I will tell you this. Once there's like a section of the book, which I won't ruin, there's a section of the book where that relationship slaps. And then you're like, that's it. That's what I was looking for. And once that happened, I loved it. But unfortunately, if it happened like well after the halfway point, I'm wanting to say it was like maybe like 2/3 of the way through the book is when you finally get that turning point where the relationship really hits and you start seeing them together as a couple. And once that happened, I fell in love with this book. And I fell in love with the characters. You saw a huge change in Marcella from the experience of being kidnapped to going through what she went through, that you see her grow up very quickly and she becomes this like really cool, strong, backboned daughter of Luca that you expect her to be. But again, it took me like 2/3 of the way through the book to really see that out of her. So it's one of those things, I'll be honest with you guys. I probably would have DNF'd this book or given it very low ratings if it wasn't for the backstory of Luca and Arya. But until I hit that like 2/3 of the way through the book, and then my opinion completely changed. So just keep that in mind if you're not familiar or if you're reading this book, that it takes a while. Give it some time, push through. I promise it gets better. You just gotta make yourself push through. With that being said, we all knew this was going to end on some kind of cliffhanger. Cora was very, very open about that it's a part 1 and it's a part 2. So we knew that it's going to have to end on a cliffhanger somewhere. But I was going into this book really expecting that cliffhanger to hit at a really like pivotal point in the book, right? So like we know she's kidnapped. So I went into the book thinking like, it'll be like when she's being rescued, or it'll cut off like, her dad's getting ready to kill Maddox and shoot him or something. And then, no, I love him. And then you cut off to black, or I don't know. Like I was expecting some like real dramatic cut off for this book where you're going to be like, oh my God. And you can't wait for book 2. But I didn't feel that way with this cliffhanger. I was kind of like, that's the cliffhanger? Okay. And it's an okay cliffhanger, but it's not like a, oh my God, I'm going to die if I don't read book 2 kind of cliffhanger. I was very unexpected, very unexpected. I really thought it would be a more pivotal point in the book where she cut it off. So I am looking forward to part 2. Again, I fell in love with these characters really in that last third of the book is when I just fell in love with the characters. And now I can't wait to see what happens and how they grow together. But it took me a while to get there. It's a very slow process. I'm almost not really, I don't know. A slow burn, is a slow burn the right word for that? Not really. It's not really a slow burn, but kind of is, because it takes a good chunk of the book to really kind of get into that relationship. So with that being said, I like the book. I didn't love the book. I don't think it's the best Cora Reilly book that I've ever read. Now, I may revisit this once part 2 is out, because if I'm being honest with you, I don't necessarily think this needed to be 2 books. I mean, I don't know that for sure because I haven't read part 2. My initial reaction is that I'm not sure this needed to be 2 books. I feel like she could have sped up some of the boringness of this. It's not really boring, but like crap I didn't care about, unfortunately. In the first third of the book, or the first half of the book, could have been either skipped or condensed, or I don't know. She could have moved the relationship forward quicker. I'm not really sure I'm not really sure what she could have done, but like, I feel like some of that could have been condensed and this could have just been 1 book, is my initial thought on it. But again, I may change my mind completely when I read part 2, because Cora has this amazing ability to make you really love the characters and totally buy into whatever world she creates. So, my initial rating of this book, this one pains me. I'm going to give it a 3.5. Almost maybe like a 3.75. Like, I want it to be a 4. It's not a 5. I want it to be a 4. But I really was kind of bored with the first half of the book a little bit. I hate to say it. Again, I really think that what really kept me going was this past knowledge and love for Luca and Arya. Otherwise, I don't know that I probably would have even given it a 3.5. I probably would have given it, I don't know, like a 2 or something. I'm sorry, Cora. And I also really hate cliffhangers, but I knew that going into this. And at first I told myself I wasn't going to read it until part 2 came out, but let's be honest, it's Cora Reilly. Of course I'm going to buy the first part. So anyway, that is my thoughts on By Sin I Rise. So I'm interested to hear what you guys think. I know that other people have put out reviews on their booktube channels, so I'm going to go through and read all of those. I saw Jen's from the Book Refuge, but I didn't see anyone else's. So I was like waiting to kind of look at everyone else's prior to reading, because I didn't want to like alter my thoughts on this. So I'm interested to hear what everyone else has to say. I'm going to go search for your reviews. Let me know in the comments section if you read it. Let me know if you're waiting for part 2. I don't know, guys. This was an interesting one. All right, I will see you in the next video. I'm going to talk about my mid-month wrap-up finally, although I'm like almost done with the month. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.